It's no secret that I'm a bit of a Nuzlocker. The best to ever do it, some might say, with over 2 hours of experience. But if that's the case, how did this happen?
Skin kills. The most disrespectful way to die.
Oh my god.
Man.
This was the fucking funniest thing that could have happened, to be honest.
Well, I could sit here making excuses for hours about why I lost during my first attempt at the Colosseum Hardcore Nuzlocke. That's not what this video is about. It basically just boiled down to some bad calls along the way, and also that fucking guy with the 2 exploding Geodudes, because what the fuck? That's some Emerald Kaizo bullshit in an official Pokemon product if I've ever seen it, and I've played through all of Pokemon Stadium, so you know I'm serious. So in order to maximize my chances of success in this run, Espeon has a modest nature and Umbreon is bashful. Resetting for nature sucks in Colosseum, which is why I didn't do that. But before you leave your comments, look man, if I set the natures in PK hacks or if I get them by resetting, doesn't fucking matter. It's the same effect and grinding is cringe and cheating is based. These first few fights truly don't matter, as they're essentially perfectly crafted to be easily handled by Espeon spamming confusion, and the Shadow Makuhita in this game has a guaranteed catch rate. But then it finally came time to roll for my first encounter, one of the Johto starters. Bayleaf is by far the best encounter here, but I've gotten it on both my Colosseum Nuzlocks before this point, so surely the odds aren't in my favor to get it again.
Got Bayleaf again, holy shit. Okay. I was hoping for Croconaw this time, just because I want to make Cosmo happy.
Shut the fuck up! This isn't Cosmo's Nuzlocke, it's yours! So after a short battle, snagging Bayleaf and doing a few easy battles around town to deplete its heart gauge and get a useless TM, it was off to Pyrite Town, the town with the banger music and the largest encounter pool in the game at 8 Pokemon. In the last run, I got Flaffy, which disappointed me, but this time...
Yo! No shot! I am overjoyed at that. That's Quagsire, baby.
So after catching Quagsire, which, yes, I am as surprised as you at the lack of literally anything of note so far, but this run has genuinely just gone super well, then fighting Kale and doing the world's most pointless side quest, it's on to Pyrite Colosseum. This is a required gauntlet of 4 back-to-back battles. Luckily your team is healed in between, and all of these trainers suck, so... on to the next plot point! Pyrite Building has 3 potential encounters in Yanma, Remoraid, and Mantine. 2 of these suck, with Yanma being a bad Pokemon and Remoraid being at such a low level that you need to basically hope it doesn't need to be used as a meat shield if you want to end up using it, so imagine my joy when still, to this day, the RNG gods refuse to give me a good Pyrite Building encounter because fuck, I am stuck with Yanma. So after catching a meat shield and going through yet another ridiculous gauntlet of trainer battles, it's time to fight Firma985 again, and look man, if he didn't get this joke the first time I made it, I don't think I have an Ice Cube's chance in hell the second time. It's time to fight Firma985, whose Shadow Mantine is really an issue. Mantine has a good type and
that fell flat for you? The Firma985 joke is one of my favorites.
But I'm just flabbergasted that a Twitch streamer can exist and not know who Germa is. Anyways, Firma can actually be a hard fight if you're unprepared, with her team consisting of fast Pokemon that know Helping Hand in Apom, Yanma, and Furret, alongside Mantine, a bulky monster with a powerful attack for this point in the game in Bubble Beam. It basically always has support to boost its attacking power on top of being bulkier than anything else you'd have to fight up to this point, and having a pretty solid defensive typing if you didn't pick up Flaffy. And even if you did, Thundershock doesn't do as much to it as you may think. Luckily, by this point, Umbreon has Toxic, and despite a terrifying critical hit on the yet-to-be-christened Mr. Ass, Toxic basically guarantees that Mantine goes down in 8 turns on top of my Pokemon targeting it with their attacks, and so Firma985 throws herself through the dollhouse window with no casualties this time around. The next area is Pyrite Cave, and 2 of the 3 potential encounters here are actually pretty good. Dunsparce isn't, but Swablu and Meditite actually aren't bad. After rolling the dice, I end up getting Meditite, and I didn't think about it at the time because I really like Swablu, but Meditite would actually, in a weird and unexpected way, be a hero of this run. See, Meditite as a Pokemon in this game is sort of just a worse Espeon. Sure, it gets Calm Mind, but in the time it's taking to set that up, Espeon would usually already have secured a kill. But what Meditite does have over Espeon is that it comes holding the Twisted Spoon, which increases the power of Psychic-type moves by 1.5 times. So if we were to remove this item from Meditite and give it to Mr. Ass, Mr. Ass basically becomes a nuclear option that no enemy in the game has a super solid answer for. After getting Ultra Balls, which will make catching Pokemon significantly easier in the future thanks to the glitch I've been abusing to have infinite Pokeballs, it was onto the Miror Hideout, which, yes, is apparently its own area according to the game. This is where we fight our first Cipher admin, Miror B, and in my last attempt, this battle went, questionably.
but Sudowoodo takes advantage of my mistake and kills Bayleaf, leaving Espeon at low health as well.
So, Bayleaf died.
Yeah.
Remoraid died.
Yeah.
These are not good developments.
Luckily, this time around, I had a full team of 6 and good enough RNG that this fight didn't pose too much of a threat. It was still a bit scary that one of his Ludicolo no Ice Beam, but I heard through the grapevine that it seems like the ones that have Swift Swim for an ability are hard-coded to almost always use Astonish to fish for flinches. I also leveled up Umbreon and Espeon to the level cap at 35, which actually makes a considerable difference here. This battle is basically won through a combination of using Toxic, using Reflect, and switching out whenever a Pokemon's HP gets lower than I would like. I even caught Sudowoodo despite going into the fight saying I didn't care if I did or not because, like, nothing is going to top the Sudowoodo I caught last time. After catching a Rat Meat Shield that no Wandering Bard, I am not going to stop calling a Rat Meat Shield, it was on to Agate Village, where after dealing with a ton of Peons, it was time for the greatest spectator sport of all time. Will Egan's Pikachu clear this ridiculous RNG check?
Oh, paralyze. Pikachu, come on. Yeah! Fuck yeah! Oh, Pikachu, yeah! Hit through that bright powder! Pop off! Oh, fully paralyzed! It still hits! Yo, wait. Oh, never mind. God damn it. There's like...
Could you imagine?
Closest I've ever seen him get in one of my own playthroughs, to be fair. Anyways, on to Scrub, who is maybe the hardest fight in this run. His team is high-leveled, and his Shadow Hitmontop is a problem when it can hit hard with Shadow Rush and Triple Kick. I decided to let Plusle Ball, which worked out because Hitmontop was paralyzed before anything else could happen in the battle, while a critical hit Razor Leaf obliterated Geodude before I had a chance to do anything. But then Plusle gets absolutely annihilated by Hitmontop and Clamperl, which, I mean... he balled for a second there, but he should not have been allowed on the court. Umbreon was able to confuse Hitmontop and able to kill Wynot easily with Bite, meaning all that was left was to capture Hitmontop and the battle was over with no major casualties. Which is a huge improvement over last time, by the way. Defeating Scrub unlocks access to the Relic Stone, meaning our Shadow Pokemon can be purified to gain experience and evolve now. Quagsire is now Todd Showered, and Bayleaf evolved into Meganium and is now Grogboga. On to Mount Battle, where that stupid fucking asshole with the stupid fucking Geodudes was waiting, but that's not right now. That's after like 8 easy battles where nothing bad happens whatsoever.
Oh, Needle Arm, shit. That's gonna hurt. No!
What happened? What happened?
What happened?
I did not think about the fact that Quagsire is 4 times weak to grass.
So Todd Showered is dead?
Mm-hmm. Why did I switch Metatite out and not Quagsire? What in... Alright. Stream's done. Stream's done. We're not coming back from
no
that.
more.
I don't know what this bitch was cooking, but she should not be allowed in the kitchen. So after laying literally one of my favorite Pokemon to rest and purifying some new Pokemon, including Stanford the Makuhita now Hariyama, Metatits the Metacham, and Bicho the Yanma, pronounced Bicho and not any other way, it was time to head back to Mount Battle, this time to laugh in the face of the double Geodude asshole.
Self-destruct. Bicho protected itself. Metatits protected itself.
Now it was time to fight Dakim, who realistically was a little bit scary after losing Quagsire, who is sort of the best answer to him that I had. Dakim led with Matang and Golem, which is maybe the most awkward lead he could have used. To be honest though, this battle sort of just evolved into using Confuse Ray and stalling against Matang. Early on at least though, Sam and Mr. Ass get a kill on Golem before Dakim switched into Marshtomp, which Sam and Mr. Ass also easily kill. Then he switches into Camerupt, which uses Protect, while Matang finally hits with Earthquake, which did nothing to Sam or Mr. S surprisingly, who confuse and Psybeam the shit out of Camerupt. I switch Mr. S for Stanford, but then he shockingly goes for the double protect and fails, so Stanford manages to take out Matang with Vital Throw. This leads to Dakim sending out Entei, his final Pokemon. Entei hits Stanford with Shadow Rush, while Sam finishes off Camerupt, meaning it's my 6th Pokemon against his 1. It should not be hard to imagine how this story goes. Sam got the final hit in an act of poetic justice. I spent too long grinding out the Fennec Colosseum to get a bunch of TMs, and Justy, the pre-gym leader, which is easy thanks to Stanford having a move that completely ignores his gimmick in order to get the TM for return. But then it was time to head to the next destination, the Under. The only encounter here is Ledian, which sucks ass, so who cares, it's basically already time to fight Venus. Her team focuses on confusion and attraction, which would be annoying if her team composition wasn't dog shit. I got off to a pretty bad start with their leads, putting me in a position where I sort of had to just keep confusing things, but luckily, Stanford managed to score a kill on her Delcatty before she sent in Banette, which ended up killing itself in confusion. Steelix and Vileplume both eventually die, leaving Venus with a lone underleveled Suicune. It should not be hard to imagine how this ends. After chasing Venus through the under subway and not getting obliterated by a Piloswine and a Dunsparce, and successfully catching a Sneasel that I only had to threaten the life of in order to get it to stay in the damn ball, and witnessing an act of terrorism, it was time for the Shadow Pokemon Lab. In the next stream, but first, nothing happened in the Pyrite Colosseum. The Shadow Pokemon Lab is scary on paper because there are lots of Pokemon that can explode and trainers who use Rain Dance and Thunder, but thanks to the fact that I have, more than 2 Pokemon, things are actually pretty easy. I successfully killed a fucking spider, catch a Vibrava who gets nicknamed Julia and evolves into a Flygon, and remind Scrub why his parents named him that. Ein is the next admin to fight, and his team is generally the most well-constructed of the 4 admins. He focuses on Rain Dance and Thunder alongside Confuse Ray, but since none of his Pokemon resist Psychic, and Mr. S has Psychic the move now, you should know the drill. Sam and Mr. S solo with not even a Raikou being strong enough to stand a chance against the raw power of the LGBT community. I felt strong going into the final stream of this game. I had a full team of 6 alongside options in case anyone died going into Realgam Tower, the game's final area. My encounters were simply incredible this time around, and besides that fact, Sam and Mr. S both surviving to the end was a sign that this had to be the run. And I've never gotten arrogant before, so why would I start now? My plan going into Realgam Tower was to take on Ein first, both because he's tied for the hardest fight in the area, and because after defeating Ein, you get access to the Master Ball. So after beating the guard to Ein's room in an act of revenge for what Delibird did to me in the last run, it was time to battle the man himself. Ein's team still focuses on Rain Dance, but he also mixes in a Protect Toxic Fly strategy, Lightning Rod, and other moves and mechanics. Ein led with Rhydon and Crobat, while I led with Grogboga and Mr. S. Mr. S is able to kill Crobat before anything else can happen in the battle, and Ein replaces it with Pelipper. Mr. S takes out Rhydon next, forcing in Starmie, Ein's scariest Pokemon. Grogboga sets up Sunny Day while Pelipper sets up Rain Dance, and they're just going to go back and forth at this for a few turns. Mr. S destroys Pelipper, forcing in the underleveled Raikou, and Grogboga begins charging Solar Beam to take out Starmie. Through some clever use of Protect, nothing happens on this turn other than Grogboga hitting Starmie with Solar Beam, and on the next turn, Mr. S two-shots Raikou with Who Would Have Thought Psychic. After grabbing the Master Ball, it was time to fight the remainder of the Cipher admins, starting with Miror B. His team is underleveled, his Loudred is unevolved for some reason, and he doesn't even have his theme song anymore. This battle genuinely took 5 minutes. Next up, Dakeem. He's probably the scariest battle here, with his team having a focus on Sunny Day, Protect, Earthquake, and Explosion. Dakeem leads with Forretress and Claydol, which was exactly what I was hoping for. I lead with Mr. S and Julia. Mr. S sets up Reflect while Claydol hits Mr. S with Earthquake, but it hit for almost no damage whatsoever, so who cares. Julia melts Forretress on the next turn, and Dakeem sends out the literal worst thing ever designed. Mr. S exercises the demon with Psychic, which gets replaced with Flygon, while Julia obliterated half of Claydol's health. Claydol crits Mr. S with Solar Beam, but that doesn't matter as Mr. S protects on the next turn while Julia kills Claydol. Dakeem is left with only Flygon and an underleveled Entei, which Flygon nearly kills with Earthquake anyways. From here, it's a simple matter of switching into Sam to protect Mr. S for any unfortunate crits, then just targeting Entei and Flygon from there. Even a critical hit wasn't enough to save his Flygon from an early grave, and that's all the Cipher admins. What? You want me to give any nod to the 4th one? Why? She has a Wigglytuff on her team. You can put 2 and 2 together from there. From here, I catch Heracross, my encounter for Realgam Tower Dome, and head on to fight the actual last boss here at Realgam Tower, Gonzap. Gonzap's team is overwhelmingly weak, with an overwhelming weakness to most things that breathe and some absolutely awful movesets. Like, Hariyama only has Foresight because if you catch Misdreavus, there's no other way this Hariyama can damage it. His team drops 1 by 1 like flies, with Mr. S and Lid the Hitmontop having answers for basically his entire team. I also get to catch a Shadow Skarmory, since Realgam Tower is a separate area from Realgam Tower Dome, so with Gonzap defeated, it's on to the last gauntlet of the game, Tower Colosseum. Tower Colosseum is like the other Colosseum challenges throughout the game, except all 4 trainers have Shadow Pokemon and you don't get healed between each battle. I purify the Skarmory I caught from Gonzap, who gets named Sean Craggle, and set up what will be the team I head into the last 6 battles with. Mr. S the Espeon, Sam the Umbreon, Julia, the Flygon, Lid the Hitmontop, Grogboga the Meganium, and Sean Craggle the Skarmory. This team covered each other's weaknesses well and had a wealth of options going into an area where that isn't always the case, and with Sam and Mr. S both alive, nothing could possibly go wrong here. My encounter for Tower Colosseum was Metagross, which meant I didn't have to worry about catching any of the Shadow Pokemon before the boss fights. As a result, my team managed to sweep through the first 4 battles in Tower Colosseum, in part because almost nothing in the game is built to take a Twisted Spoon boosted Psychic from a modest Espeon. I'd officially made it farther than I did in my last run, and it was time to fight Nazcaur, the leader of Cipher.
Who's ready for the best battle theme of the game? Fuck yeah! God, I love this song.
Nazcaur leads with Gardevoir and Xatu, which is awkward for my Psychic fighting lead. Lid uses Detect to eat up what is an easily predictable double target, while Mr. S uses Psychic on Gardevoir just to do a tiny bit of damage. I switch Lid out for Sam, while Mr. S sets up Reflect. Then Sam and Mr. S double target Gardevoir, but due to the fact that Xatu is confusing everything, the second hit doesn't go through and Gardevoir hits Mr. S with Taunt, which doesn't matter. Mr. S hits himself with Confusion, but Sam finally takes out Gardevoir using Bite. Blaziken is up next, and guess what can't survive a Twisted Spoon boosted Psychic from a modest Espeon? Sam confuses and poisons the Dusclops that replaces it while I switch Mr. S out for Sean Craggle, and Nazcaur uses an X special that can't really make an impact on this battle because of the relative types involved. Sean Craggle hits Xatu with Metal Sound, opening it up to a one-shot by Sam's Bite, leading to Nazcaur sending in Wall Rain. Sean Craggle hits herself in Confusion, while Sam hits Wall Rain with Toxic, and Ice Beam hits Sean Craggle pretty hard. Sean uses Protect, while Sam uses Bite on Dusclops, leaving Dusclops at less than half health after Toxic damage, so Sean Craggle takes the kill with Drill Peck, while Sam confuses Wall Rain to hopefully protect Sean Craggle from dying on this turn. Sean Craggle barely hangs on. I catch Metagross with a Master Ball and switch Sean Craggle out for Lid. On the last turn, Lid takes out Wall Rain with Brick Break, resulting in a deathless battle against Nazcaur. But if you've played Colosseum, you know that's not the end, as it's time to fight Dr. Evis, the true leader of Cipher. And while we all ignore this literally not human demon character being a boss in this Pokemon game, he leads with Machamp and Slowking. Since the level cap was set at Nazcaur, we are underleveled for this fight. His strategy revolves around using Skill Swap on a Slacking to let it wreak havoc, but luckily this lead allows me to avoid that for now. Machamp goes down immediately to Mr. S's Psychic, being replaced by Salamence, while Lid protects himself. I switch Lid out for Sam, while Evis uses X attacks on both his Pokemon. Mr. S hits Salamence with Psychic, with it barely hanging on, and on the next turn, Mr. S takes it out. Evis sends out Scizor, while Sam accidentally wastes a turn because I forgot Slowking has own tempo. I switch Mr. S out for Julia, while Sam hits Slowking with Bite, and Scizor hits Julia with Silver Wing, luckily avoiding the Omni Boost. Julia is at half health now, so I use Protect while Sam hits Slowking with Bite again. My goal here is basically to get rid of Slowking before Slacking comes out, as in my head, that's my win condition. But I realize how impractical that is in my current position, and decide to take a risk using Flamethrower to melt Scizor immediately. Once Slacking comes out, Julia uses Protect while Sam outspeeds and kills Slowking before it can use Skill Swap. Evis is down to only Tyranitar and Slacking, so while Sam uses Protect, Julia uses Earthquake to hit both of them relatively hard, with Tyranitar almost fainting from it. Julia gets hit a bit too hard by Shadow Rush though, resulting in the first death since Mount Battle. Slacking hits Sam with Crush Claw while Sam hits back with Bite, bringing it below half health. Tyranitar also hits Sam, trying to finish him off a second run in a row, but I refuse to give him the satisfaction, switching Sam out for Sean Craggle and accidentally going for the double Detect, which fails. Luckily it doesn't matter because Slacking is truant and Tyranitar misses. Sean Craggle kills Tyranitar with Steel Wing and Lid hits Slacking with Brick Break, resulting in the end of the final battle and a successful attempt at the Colosseum Hardcore Nuzlocke. After another act of domestic terrorism, Cipher's leaders are arrested, Ho-Oh flies overhead, happy music, roll credits, all that shit, whatever. The moral of this story? Never ask me for anything again because fuck, this video took me months to write.
By the way, did you know this isn't a typo? That wasn't a typo. You can spell his name Tsunekazu Ishihara or Tsunekazu Ishihara. We use Tsunekazu Ishihara now because it's something you hear more often, and Tsunekazu rolls off the tongue better than Tsunekaz. But both are technically correct.